My pleasure to welcome everybody to this swearing-in ceremony tonight. Um, it's going to be sad to see some people go. It's going to be interesting to see some new people join us, and we will start off with an invocation from Pastor Euless Reddick from the Mount Zion Baptist Church. Pastor Reddick, you're on. Unmute yourself, Pastor. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
There you
Yes.
go.
Very good. Thank you for having me. Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, eternal God, we thank you for Richmond, California. Our city is made up of people, and we thank you for each and every person who makes up this great city, our good city, Richmond, California. We thank you for our outstanding leadership, our scenic landscape, the richness of our heritage, our thriving commerce, and we thank you above all these things for the people of this city. Thank you for our diversity, our ingenuity. We are many citizens, but one city. We ask you tonight to give favor and grace and mercy on our beloved city. We ask you to give our mayor, council members, other leaders, employees, and volunteers your wisdom, compassion, and patience. Lord, we're living in times of extraordinary uncertainty. We ask you to give them extraordinary insight, uncommon wisdom, foresight, courage, and ability to lead our city in and through these times. We know that you have the answers to all of our problems. May they seek your wisdom and act accordingly. In bringing these city leaders to you tonight, we ask you to give them respect for each other, along with those who wanted them in office and those who made other choices, that they may work together for the common good. When differences arise, and we know they will, may they look beyond their own agendas and embrace the best course of action. Father, we pray not just for Richmond, but for every city in our state, country, and the entire world. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Reddick.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thanks for
I have an announcement before we move on. That has to do with public comment. We're going to add an agenda item just before the oath of office item to give the public an opportunity to address new and departing city council members. This will be 1 minute for each speaker. This is not an open forum. The opportunity to speak is limited to existing and to new and departing council members. And the city clerk will now provide information on on how you are recognized to do this if you wish to.
Okay. If you would like to speak under our public comment section, please raise your hand now. And to comment by video, click on the participants button at the bottom of your screen and select the raise hand button. To comment by phone, press the star key and the number 9. And Mayor, I need to take a roll call.
Okay, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Bates,
Present.
Councilmember Choi,
I'm here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Present.
Councilmember Martinez,
Here.
Councilmember Myrick,
Present.
Councilmember Willis,
Here.
and Mayor Butt.
Here.
Okay.
And the next item is remarks for departing council members. And as we move ahead in this peaceful transfer of power in Richmond, California, something that's a little different from what we're seeing other places, I would like to start with Vice Mayor Bates And if you have any remarks on departing council members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and to our esteemed Pastor Reddick. Thank you for those beautiful comments. I just want to be brief and make a couple comments about our outgoing council members. From my perspective and many others, there's no greater service that you can render than to your fellow citizens. And both these gentlemen, Councilmember Choi and Councilmember Myrick, has distinguished themselves in making valuable contributions to the city of Richmond. I suspect that long after many of us are gone and they're gone, we'll look back and we'll be able to see some of the votes that we've taken that have made Richmond a better city overall. And I just like to congratulate them and wish them Godspeed in their future endeavors. And they've been a welcome addition to the city council and to the general citizenry of Richmond. And obviously we're going to miss you. So good luck to both of you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Johnson.
I ain't got nothing to say to them. I'm just Big Bro and Mr. Choi, two of the greatest men that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and let alone serving with in such a capacity. Before Melvin and I ever held the record of being the youngest person ever elected in the city of Richmond, it was J.L. Myrick. And, you know, just growing up in the city of Richmond and being able to see one of his native sons take on the institution that is the city of Richmond and bring about the changes and make the true statements that he did unapologetically has most definitely served as an inspiration. And Mr. Choi, I don't know anybody. If I ever go on Jeopardy, I'm gonna make sure I keep your number in my back pocket, man. You're knowledgeable on so many subjects, it's ridiculous. And I've learned so much sitting, in the same room as you and having the opportunity to joke and laugh with you on a more personal note. Both of these men are extremely honorable. They earned the title, the Honorable Ben Choi, the Honorable J.L. Myrick, because they served with honor and they served with integrity. And they most definitely are some of the best men that this council has ever produced. And I just consider it an honor to have served with them. And thank you so much for your time.
Councilmember Eduardo Martinez.
Just to piggyback off of what Councilmember Johnson said, I consider Ben Choi the council Wikipedia. Because he is so knowledgeable. If you want to know anything, just ask the question and he's got the answer. So I really appreciate working with you. I feel honored to have worked with you and to have shared a lot of the cultural things that we've shared. And you've also made me be a stronger candidate, or rather a stronger council member. Because of the positions that you've taken on the city council and because of your articulateness in making your case. So that's always a big thing. And for JL, I want to thank you for being the bridge for a lot of controversy, being the bridge from different positions, and also representing not only the African-American community, but the Latino community, because coming where you come from, you understand both of them. So it's also been an honor to work with you, and also your ability, our conversations on semantics and how metaphors are basically set the framework of our perspectives, of our points of views. So thank you. Thanks to both of you. It's been an honor.
I see Uche Uomehu here representing Buffy Wicks. You have some remarks for us, Uche?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. And I'm not sure if we're doing our presentation right now or wait for Senator Skinner to join us. I think we are scheduled for 6:45, if I'm not mistaken. So do you want a remark or do you want a presentation at the same time?
I didn't hear that last question. What?
I was asking, I was just stating that we are scheduled to do this presentation, I think at 6:45. It's about 6:45, but
Well, my program has you on here now, so you can do it now, or we can come back later.
sure, I just I was waiting for Senator Skinner, but I can go ahead and do it.
Point of order, not the point of order.
Go ahead. What?
Did Councilmember Willis get missed?
He's not. Well, he's not on my program, so you know he's like both departing and incoming, and so.
Oh, right. I forgot. That's right. Because he's later.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
I'm just.
Thanks for looking out there, Councilman Myra.
I'm not making this up. I'm following the program. So Uche, you want to go now, or you want to put it off?
I just go now.
Okay, go.
Sure. I'm here obviously on behalf of Assemblywoman Buffy Weeks, and let me show my video. I'm here on behalf of Assemblywoman Buffy Weeks. She couldn't be here tonight, so I'm here to present a resolution to outgoing Council Member Ben Choi on behalf of the State Assembly and the State Senate. So Ben Choi has served his community for the past 4 years as the first Asian American candidate elected to the City Council. In his role as a council member, Ben served on the West Contra Costa Integrated Waste Management Authority, the West Contra Costa Transportation Advisory Committee, and the City Council liaison to the ECIA Grant Review Ad Hoc. And he also served on the Public Act Advisory Committee, as well as the Commission on Human Rights. Prior to being elected on the City Council, Ben served for 6 years with the Richmond Planning Commission and the Richmond Neighborhood Coordinating Council for 2 years. For 6 years, Ben also sat on the board of Urban Habitat, a nonprofit organization that works to democratize power and advance equitable policies to create a just and connected Bay Area for low-income communities and communities of colors. For the last 8 years, Ben has worked as an account manager for MCE, a community-based public electric service provider that focuses on renewable energy and energy efficient, while offering an economic and workforce benefits and creating more equitable communities. From his childhood as an undocumented immigrant, raised in a small corner store in a diverse working class community, Ben learned the meaning and responsibility of citizenship and the way government programs and policies, local, state, and federal, have a huge effect on the lives of everyday people. Ben earned a BA in Fine Arts from Amherst College from Massachusetts and lives in Richmond, Marina Bay area with his wife, Erica, and their dog, Spock. On a personal note, I have come to know Ben now for quite a while as a Richmond resident. He is like both folks that spoke before me remarked about him. He's a very eloquent, very smart guy. And on a light note, Ben is probably one of the most person I've ever seen in my life with a facial expression that will make you laugh so much. So every time I watch Ben, I can't stop laughing because his facial expression speaks loud, very loud. So that's just on a light note. And but Ben, we're really proud of the 4 years you spent serving the community, and we appreciate what you've done. So on behalf of Assemblywoman Buffy, the resolution that is currently in your position, or the City of Richmond position, we've already sent in that. So that's our gratitude to your service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Uche, and thank you, Assembly Member Wicks. Is there somebody here from Senator's office? Oh, hey, Senator Skinner's here. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor Butt. Hello to everyone in Richmond who's participating on this Zoom council meeting. And of course, I'm here to, to welcome the 2 new council members, Councilmember Jimenez, Claudia Jimenez, welcome. And also to Gail McLaughlin, who is of course no stranger to the council, having served prior and also as mayor. But my real role is to give regards to our outgoing council members. And the State Senate has some beautiful framed resolutions for both Councilmember Myrick and Councilmember Choi. And I'm not sure, I don't know if they're being sent directly to your homes or whether they were sent to the city, but you will have beautiful framed resolutions. And let me start with Councilmember Choi. Ben, I know you less well than JL, and it will be learned later why I know JL so well, but I really want to express my appreciation, Ben, to you for your service. And I'm sure I did not get to hear all of what Uche said, and I'm sure there are many other people who are speaking tonight, but I did want to recognize you absolutely for serving as the first AAPI council member in Richmond, and very, very grateful for your work on the Recycle More, the Integrated Waste Management Authority. You served also on the West Contra Costa Transportation Advisory Committee. Very important to make sure that transit operates for our residents, which we know under COVID has been seriously impacted, the funding for transit. You served as council's liaison to the ECIA Grant Review Committee. You also were on the Public Art Advisory Committee and the Commissions on Human Rights and Human Relations, Arts and Culture, and the Richmond Housing Advisory Commission. So I'm sure you also introduced many important resolutions and ordinances to the council. I am less familiar with that work, but I know that you have been pivotal to the progress that Richmond has made in the last 4 years, and that you'll be missed. And the constituents that you served will miss you, but I know you won't be gone forever. You won't be invisible. So Ben, thank you for your service, and really proud that the State Senate was able to provide a resolution for you to honor those 4 years of service. And now I will turn to Councilmember Myrick. And of course, Councilmember Myrick, JL, you served as my aide when I was first elected to the State Assembly. Not only, I mean, when I was running for State Assembly back in 2008, you first got involved in my campaign, and I got to know you in that context. And of course, as time went on, I saw your incredible skills and talents and your care, your dedication to public service. And Councilmember Choi, I did not mean to indicate that you do not also have a great dedication to public service. Anyone who serves on a city council has great dedication to public service. But more in the context of JL, in the interactions first on the campaign and then when I hired him to serve as my aide, I could see that he had a deep, deep commitment to public service, a love for the community, and a love for his birthplace, Richmond, and the folks there, the schools that he attended, you name it. So, and of course, he took that on not only in the role that he played in my office, but later when he ran for city council, well, first got appointed, then ran and served. So JL, thank you for that incredible service. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I know that you really pioneered and led on. One of them was the funding for the college scholarships for Richmond students who succeeded in Richmond schools from one of the settlements, from one of the, I think it was Chevron monies, if I remember correctly. Am I correct there? Good, good. I'm good because my staff didn't give me those notes, but I remember when you toiled away at that and when you helped negotiate both the funding for it and the opportunity for Richmond students to have a pathway to college. I know also that you've led on many policies to support youth and that address racial and economic justice, which we know affects not only our young people, but residents throughout Richmond. You were co-sponsor of the ordinance that raised Richmond's minimum wage, which I think even happened before Berkeley's, if I recollect, which is pretty impressive because Berkeley always thinks it's the first in everything. And you also was the champion and got the council to adopt the first and strongest fair chance access to affordable housing ordinance, which protected people with a prior criminal record from being excluded from housing. And we know that's so important because unfortunately, justice in our communities is not blind, and it disproportionately impacts people of color, which then in turn disproportionately impacts them in everything else they want to pursue, whether it's jobs or schooling or housing. So thank you for that. And I know that you will continue to lead on issues of economic and racial justice in whatever, well, of course, in your day-to-day work, because I know what your day job is, but I imagine that you will continue in some role, in some capacity that is contributing to the public rather than only your day job, just because I know you, but I really, really express my appreciation for your commitment to public service, what you have delivered to the city of Richmond and the citizens of Richmond, or the residents of Richmond, let me put it that way, over these years, and express my appreciation for it. And I hope that you enjoy your resolution, because I know that you in the past used to give them to other people on my behalf. So I'm glad you get one.
Okay, thank you, Senator Skinner. I'm glad you're able to make it here tonight. And I'll close out this part. I'll start with Councilmember Ben Choi. You know, I'm really going to miss Ben. Ben is funny. He's smart. He's talented. He's a whiz at trivia. He's really a fun guy to have around. But I tell you what, you never want to follow him off to karaoke. That's a mistake. And you know, Ben played a major role in a lot of legislation and policy decisions by the city council, and he'll be remembered for that. Turning over to JL, you know, JL also played a major role in a lot of major policy decisions. You've heard some of them already. We're kind of getting to the point where we're into redundancy. But the one that I really want to point out is the role he played in negotiating the Chevron Community Benefits Agreement, and particularly the $35 million Richmond Promise program. There were three of us that really put that together, and JL was one of them, and he was absolutely critical to making it happen. And that's something I'll certainly never forget. So the next item has to do with proclamations. And as I said before, you know, we're getting into some redundancy, but these individuals have worked hard. They've contributed mightily, and you know, they're just going to have to sit here and listen to it. So I'll start off with proclamation for Ben Choi. Whereas Ben Choi was elected to the Richmond City Council on November 8th, 2016 for a 4-year term. And whereas as the first Asian American elected to the City Council, Ben Choi served on several boards and commissions such as the West Contra Costa Integrated Waste Management Authority, Recycle More, the West Contra Costa Transportation Committee, WICTAC, the City Council Liaison to the ECIA Grant Review Ad Hoc Committee, and the Public Art Advisory Committee, as well as commissions on human rights and human relations, arts and culture, and the Richmond Housing Advisory Commission. And whereas for 6 years, Ben Choi was a board member of Urban Habitat, a nonprofit organization that works to democratize power and advance equitable policies to create a just and connected Bay Area for low-income communities and communities of color. And whereas prior to serving on the City Council, Ben Choi served 6 years on the Richmond Planning Commission and 2 years on the Richmond Neighborhood Coordinating Council. And whereas Ben Choi has been civically engaged in his work to preserve the environment, the equitable distribution of resources and opportunities for residents, for economic stability, and for the city. And whereas from his childhood as an undocumented immigrant, Ben Choi knows the meaning and responsibility of citizenship and the way government programs and policies have had an immense impact on the lives of everyday people. And most of all, he learned it is a privilege to serve. Whereas Ben Choi earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Amherst College in the last decade of the 20th century and lives in Richmond Marina Bay with his wife Erica Choi and their dog Spock. Now therefore it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Richmond, California on January 12th, 2021 does hereby recognize Ben Choi for his years of service for the City of Richmond. Ben, thank you and congratulations. And you'll get to talk later. Okay, I'm moving on now to Councilmember J.L. Myrick. Whereas J.L. Myrick is a native of Richmond who graduated from John F. Kennedy High School, Chabot College, and La Sierra University. And whereas J.L. Myrick demonstrated his willingness to support worthy causes early on by spending his early 20s fundraising for the California League of Conservation Voters, which culminated in the organization of membership action campaigns. And whereas at age 21, J.L. Myrick founded Standing to Represent Our Next Generation to strengthen our young leaders' civic participation. And whereas from 2009 to 2014, J.L. Myrick served as a field representative for former Assembly member Nancy Skinner, during which time he helped to lead the initiative to bring the Clean Slate program to Contra Costa County. Whereas the Richmond City Council appointed J.L. Myrick as a Richmond City Council member on February 4th, 2013, to fill a vacancy created by the passing of Gary Bell. And whereas he was then elected by Richmond voters in November of 2014 for a 2-year term and re-elected November 2016 for a 4-year term. And whereas during his time on the Richmond City Council, J.L. Myrick has been integral in establishing programs like the Richmond Promise, which guarantees college scholarships for Richmond youth upon graduation from high school. Whereas he has also played a key role in moving policies forward, like the Fair Chance for Housing for residents with criminal records, My Brother's Keeper, increasing the minimum wage, and reform of the Community Police Review Commission. And whereas J.L. Myrick has been at the forefront of efforts to support the residents of Richmond, the youth, people of color, and reentry programming. Now therefore it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Richmond, California on January 12, 2021 does hereby recognize J.L. Myrick for his 7 years of service on the Richmond City Council and his commitment to the City of Richmond. Thank you, J.L., and congratulations. At this time, we are going to move to public comment. So, Madam Clerk, Do you have anybody signed up?
Are we going to go to comments from council members Choi and Myrick and then public comment?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed that. All right. I thought we were going to do that after it was. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So at this time, we're going to give an opportunity for Councilmember Choi and Councilmember Myrick to address us. So why don't you start, Councilmember Choi?
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. It's been a real pleasure to serve with everybody on the City Council. But to begin with, I'd love to address my fellow outgoing council colleague, JL Myrick. It's been a real pleasure working with you, JL. And one of these days, I promise we will actually together and have dinner when some of this over. I actually especially miss the earlier days of our being on the council together when we used to go have drinks on Bill Lindsay's bill when we broke early from City Council. But one thing I always respected about you, Jim, is that you were tireless at looking at all the issues that we weigh in on the City Council. But when it comes time to make a decision, you always make a decision on principle and on doing the most good. And I respect that about you very, very much. It's been a real learning experience being on the council for the last 4 years. Someone was asking me how long I had been, and I said 1 term. And it does seem a little shocking that it's only been 1 term. Because there's so many issues that have come before us, and I'd say the one thing about being on City Council that is hard to relate to people is with every issue that comes before us, you look at every angle possible, including many angles you don't want to necessarily look at things, and then you look at it again. So it's been, I think, the rarest kind of learning experience, because it makes you push way past your comfort zone. And so I really enjoyed serving the people of Richmond, and I look forward to finding other ways to serve the people of Richmond in the coming years. It's been a real honor to serve, and I thank you all.
Thank you, Ben. And next, JL.
Thank you. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to thank everyone who's spoken. And I want to, it feels full circle to, as she even mentioned, to receive a resolution from Senator Skinner. I remember having, when I worked for her, so many, I had like the boxes just in my house because I would give out so many of them. So it feels full circle, very, very appropriate to hear from you. And I appreciate you coming and being a part of this as well, Senator Skinner. And to all my colleagues, thank you. And for all of your kind remarks. And specifically Councilmember Choi, we're on our way out together, and I will agree with what others have said, that you're a fun person to work with, and I very much appreciate. First of all, I appreciate the way you look at policy and the way you do your job, but I appreciate the trivia as well, and the random jokes, and being able to relay everything we discussed to some movie or some pop culture reference. I appreciate that and appreciated working with you. But the biggest thank you I have to give is, of course, to the community as a whole. And if I said individuals, then we would be here for a very, very long time. So I'm not going to do that. But it's one of those things where, I wasn't expecting to be as emotional as I'm starting to feel now, but my connection to this community has and always will go way beyond politics. And, that's the type of thing that, I was reminded of recently for a tragic reason. And I'm reminded of the connections and the love that so many throughout this community have for me and my family. And and that we have for them. And I know that going forward, I'm going to be here as far as, as I can tell for the foreseeable future, if not forever. And the love that I have for this community is going to be here forever. But it's hard to, and I know some of my colleagues will relate to this actually, it's hard to understate the amazing honor it is to be selected by a community you grew up with, that you've known, people you've known since you were 6 years old in many cases, to serve them and make some of the harshest, the toughest decisions you've ever had to make in your life. And you don't know getting into that, how hard those decisions are going to be. As Councilmember Choi spoke about earlier, and you learn about yourself. Actually, I've learned a lot about myself in the last 7 years, as well as a lot about government and a lot about everything else. But at the end of the day, through the ups and the downs, I've been consistently reminded of how much of an honor it is to have your community put this type of faith in you. And I thank my community for that. And there's so many memories I have when I drive around this town or when I walk around this town, and to sort of this, to have been blessed and chosen from the community to serve and make important decisions. Knowing all the different, I can look at, I have memories that go back from when I was a child to memories that I go back to how things changed, while I was there, while I was on the council. And I'm just mostly proud of the progress that we've made together as a community. Not that, any individual elected official made or anything like that, but the ways that the community has made decisions to try to make our community better. And I want to also congratulate the incoming council members, former Mayor McLaughlin, who obviously is no stranger to the city council, and Councilmember Jimenez, who I've known for many, many years, and who also, both of whom have a huge commitment to this community and who are passionate about their love for this community. And I appreciate that passion. And to returning Councilmember Willis, who I've had the pleasure of watching grow into a leader. And I guess the last thing I'll say, it's interesting. I remember when I came on this council in 2013, being the youngest person at the time, being one of the few people from my generation in elected office anywhere in the Bay Area. And that's just exploded in the years since. And it's been a pleasure to watch that. And any role that I could have played, whether or not I played it in terms of, as Councilmember Johnson mentioned earlier, being a face that people can see in this position, so that makes it real. It makes it seem like, okay, this is something I can do too. That's probably the most important thing that I could have done over the past 7 years. And I really am proud of the leadership that's growing in Richmond, and that continues to grow in Richmond and will continue to grow. So thank you all, and look forward to continuing to serve you as your neighbor, and continuing to be a part of this community, moving things forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Meyer. And then I believe it's now time for public comment, right, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we have 6 speakers. Sabrina, you want to call the speakers?
Yes. So we show hands up for Robert Chasty, Ann Tamiko Omura, Andrea Henson, Pam Stello, David Captain, and a representative from the Richmond Firefighters Local Union 188. I would like to call Robert Chasty at this time. Robert, you have 1 minute to speak. Oh, hold on 1 moment. And you may begin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. With 1 minute, there's not enough time to say all the thank yous and the recognitions, but to council members, Choi and Myrick, thank you for your service. It's whether we have agreed or disagreed over issues, it's a tremendous thing you do when you do public service. And we do appreciate it. And we'd like to think that the time that you spent was a good time, both for you to learn and for us to learn. And for the incoming members of the council, thank you for your willingness to serve. We're looking forward to 4 years of very productive engagement. We hope that this will mean that there's a opportunity to recalibrate and reset some of the decisions that have been made, and that we'll have the opportunity to work together collegially to be able to solve problems for the community and to bring forward new ideas that will help benefit Richmond and the entire area. So on behalf of Citizens for East Shore Parks, welcome aboard, and thank you both, Mr. Myrick, Mr. Choi, for your service.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Anne Tamiko Omura. You have 1 minute to speak. You may begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm from the Eviction Defense Center. We serve a lot of tenants in Richmond, and we are so excited to see 3 great progressive council members sworn in tonight who clearly care about tenants in Richmond. We're very sad to lose 2 amazing council members, and I want to thank Councilmember Myrick and Choi for everything you've done fighting for the community that we serve. And I wanted to particularly take a moment to thank, congratulate, and acknowledge former Mayor Gail McLaughlin, who has a long history of fighting for tenants' rights and for working class families in Richmond, for taking on Chevron, of course. You are a true chingona, and I know you will continue to be. We are so excited for the future of Richmond. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Andrea Henson. Andrea, you have 1 minute. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Andrea Henson, and I too am with the Eviction Defense Center. I have to thank Councilman Choi and Councilman Myrick for their service. I am so impressed with Councilman Myrick because he has dedicated his entire life, both serving on council and at work, I'm a former colleague, to public service. And I just thank you both. And I also want to welcome the 3 new council members. And I thank you so much for just being pro-tenant and progressive. And I just ask and send you well wishes. And I ask that you have courage and bravery to step up, because we know that we're facing tumultuous times. We have a lot that we have to do for Richmond tenants, Richmond residents, with the racial violence and the pandemic and our political environment. And we just wish you so much good luck, prosperity, and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Pam Stello. Pam, you'll have 1 minute. You may begin.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Ben and JL, for your service. I am excited to see a majority who will, I know, stand by the progressive principles for which they ran and for which they were voted. And I wish you well, and I look forward to working collaboratively with all of you. Thank you for taking on your work on council. You've taken on a very, very big task, and I think we're all so grateful that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Captain. David, you'll have 1 minute. You may begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. I'm David Captain. I'm a new resident of Richmond, relatively new. I live in Marina Bay. And I wanted to thank Councilman Myrick and Councilman Choi for their service. Richmond's an incredible city. I'm a member of the Richmond Progressive Alliance and the Richmond Shoreline Alliance. And I'm just so very excited about the election of Melvin, re-election of Melvin, and the election of Claudia and Gail through this tremendous grassroots campaign that was truly incredible. And I look forward to all the progress we'll make with the new council majority. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Our next speaker is a representative from the Richmond Firefighters Local 188. You may begin. 1 minute.
Good evening, Luis Padilla, President, Richmond Firefighters Local 188. On behalf of the firefighters, I'd like to thank Councilmember Choi and Councilmember Myrick for their service. They both had to make very unpopular decisions, but they stood their ground, and I respect that. I'm going to miss Councilmember Choi's playing guitar during some of our ad hoc committees, but mostly I'll miss his facial expressions during the council meetings. I look forward to those, man. But I look forward also to seeing you at Armistice, and the first round is on me. Best of luck to both of you. As far as the new council, I look forward to working with you. I understand that there's tough times ahead of us. And with that being said, on behalf of all your firefighters, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is a representative from the Sunflower Alliance. You have 1 minute. You may begin.
Good evening. Thank you. This is Janet Johnson, Janet Skoll Johnson. I'm with the coordinator of Sunflower Alliance. I was also lead organizer of No Coal in Richmond, and I am presently with the Richmond Shoreline Alliance. And I just got off a meeting with the AB 617 Community Emissions Reduction Design team, and we are looking at candidates for the next steering committee, which will look at and recommend ways that we can improve our air. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope folks who know about this will continue to follow it. I want to congratulate the new council members, and I also want to give a huge shout out and thanks to council members Myrick and Choi for your instrumental and critical support of the Richmond Coal Ordinance. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Yenny Garcia. Yenny, you'll have 1 minute. You may begin.
Hi, Yenny Garcia. Good evening. I just want to thank Jael for your service being our CPRC, the Community Police Review Commission liaison. I've been in the commission since 2014, and I have never had a better liaison working with us. You fought hard with us to bring so many changes to the ordinance. You put up with me and others that were really hard on you to get you to voice our changes and what we wanted. And I just really want to thank you, because a lot of the changes that we have done are because of you. So I want to say thank you for that. Muchas gracias. And whatever, comes up in your life, I wish you mucha suerte and gratitude forever for being such an awesome liaison to the CPRC. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our last speaker.
Oh, wow.
Okay, thank you to all the speakers. The next item on our agenda is the actual peaceful transfer of power. It's the administration of the oath of office and presentation of certificates of election to council members-elect Melvin Willis, Gail McLaughlin, and Claudia Jimenez. And the oaths will be administered by the city clerk.
Okay. And we will administer each oath separately. First will be Councilmember Melvin Willis. I don't see him on the screen.
I'm right here. Do you hear me?
Okay, I see you. Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Melvin Willis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond of California,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Thank you. Congratulations. Next. Next, Councilmember Gail McLaughlin.
Hello.
Okay. Hey, Gail, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Gail McLaughlin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And next will be Claudia Jimenez.
Hi. Hello.
Okay. Claudia, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Claudia Jimenez,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will do fair and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
and the Charter of the City of Richmond, California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of elation,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will be and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Okay, congratulations. I'd just like to say each of the candidates did receive the certificates of election.
Okay, congratulations, newly sworn in council members. It is now your opportunity to make comments to the public, and we'll start with Councilmember Willis.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Honestly, this actually feels weird doing this, not being in person, but we're going to make this work. I want to actually start off by, giving some remarks for the outgoing council members, because I thought I was going to do that with everybody else, so going to have to double my time. I'm going to start out with Councilmember Myrick, because I do remember actually sitting there during that whole appointment process when I was waving a flag for Eduardo. I didn't even know who you were as a candidate, and when you got appointed, I'm like, I'm just going to watch and see how he is, what he does. And forgive me if this sounds patronizing, but I actually did enjoy how much you grew on the council too, because I observed how, you were being quiet, you were just taking everything in, casting your vote, and just listening to the dialogue, to us being in a 1:30 meeting where you were defending homeowners with that program to use eminent domain to get their mortgages out of private label securities, and you were really stepping up for them and holding your ground. And you went from someone that was quiet to someone that was dominating the council. You had a lot of good questions. You made me think about all the questions and even made me take mental notes to myself saying, dang, why didn't I think about that question he just asked? So when I first got elected, and I just need to remind everybody, all three of us, Councilmember Myrick did get elected in 2016, but all three of us got sworn in at the same time back in 2016 too. So, you know, it's been great serving with you, and I appreciate, you know, those times where there's been controversial items on the agenda and I can just call you and we can just talk straight on the phone. And despite where we ended up landing, we knew where we were, we could give it to each other straight. And it was always respectful. There was never any problems. And I really did appreciate and enjoy that, especially it being my first time on the council. So thank you, Councilmember Myrick. And I know this isn't the last that we're hearing from you. And Councilmember Choi, part of those facial expressions you were making was because I was sitting right next to you making my own facial expressions. You just got caught before I did, but I was there with you making those facial expressions. We were like the fun side of the dais. Even members of the public would walk up to us and say, what are you guys laughing about? And we just said everything. It's a beautiful day. We just want to be happy. But Ben, you are an encyclopedia of madness. I mean, everybody talks about your trivia and says, hey, they want to bring you on the next game show as a lifeline. But I just keep on asking, how do you know that? Why do you know that? And how do you have time to even learn that? I mean, just this morning, you were talking to me when we were in Pam's office getting my certificate and you were doing your thing. You were talking about, oh, I'm doing kayaking. You work for MCE, you know all the random information on the planet. You sing karaoke and meet people at bars. Like, where do you find this extra time to devote everything that you do? But you're rich of knowledge, you're rich of life and personality, and it's been a blast having you on the council. Even despite all the controversial issues, I can look at both Councilmember Myrick and Councilmember Choi and said those guys represent their position, their office, and their seat with nothing but integrity for themselves and honesty. And that's something I can say regardless of whatever happens, is you guys were both honest, integral, and your hearts were always in the right place, making these complicated decisions that we all have to make. So I thank y'all for my first experience in city government, of being able to work, because I've grown a lot as a person just being able to work with y'all, hear your ideas and thoughts and process, and it's going to stick with me for the rest of my life, and I do appreciate the experience. So I am sorry to see y'all go. It's going to be different, but I'm at least glad we got to have the experience together. And because I've already talked so much, I just want to thank all the people and voters and everybody who supported me and who thought it was worth it to give me another chance to be on the council and re-elect me. I mean, since I first got elected in 2016, we were all wondering where the country was going, because we were also hitting a new administration that was going to be unpredictable. We didn't know what that was going to mean for Richmond. Coming on the tail end of that and just seeing how everything's ended, you know, reflecting back on the past 4 years, I'm glad of what I've been able to do in terms of serving and helping out folks in housing, homelessness, healthcare, labor rights, workers' rights, environmental rights. I'm so excited about all that I've been able to be a part of to accomplish on this council. But looking at the devastating impacts of 2020, and the obstacles that are coming before us, there's still a lot more work to do. And I believe that we're capable of doing that work, even despite differences of opinion that may come up. But it's important to make sure that those differences of opinion don't splinter us or make us veer off from what's really important, and that's serving people in this community. Despite the distractions of what people are seeing from last Wednesday, my mind is still on the fact that we still got people locked up in jail cells, and they're at risk of being exposed to COVID. We've seen homelessness increase. There are folks that are going into debt, both renters and homeowners. There are folks that have lost jobs. And there are folks just really trying to figure out what they're going to do to put food on the table. And I want to take away from all the distraction that's happening in Washington, D.C., which is important. And remember that there is still a lot of work that we have to do. And though we're enjoying this swearing in ceremony right now, somebody's trying to figure out how they're going to make it the next day, or wondering if they're even going to have a roof over their head or food on their plate. And I always want to do what I can to help. And if we're not doing anything to help people out to the best of our ability with the resources we have on the council, then I always ask, what are we doing here? My dedication, first and foremost, is not going to be to politics. It's just going to be to the people in the city of Richmond. And I'm glad people in District 1 saw fit to re-elect me to the city council so I can continue to represent and fight and work with them as we address all the complicated issues that are going to come. It's scary, but I'm also excited to get into it. So thank you all once again. Ben and JL, I'm not even going to say goodbye because I'm sure I'm going to see you in like a couple months anyway somewhere. Small town city. Thank you again.
And thank you, Councilmember Willis. Councilmember McLaughlin, you're up next. Unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you to everyone for tuning in here tonight. I'm extremely honored and proud to be returning to the Richmond City Council, this time as the District 5 council member. Let me start out with some thank yous. A special thank you to Juan Reardon for being my campaign advisor and for all his guidance and campaign work. Juan's strategic thinking and leadership emerges from his enormous heart and determination to build a better Richmond and a better society. I will be forever grateful to Juan for his helping me reach this new leg of my journey. Of course, I also want to extend my warmest thank you to my amazing husband, Paul Kilkenny, for his unwavering commitment to me and to our shared goals and values for a better Richmond. His day in and day out volunteer work on our corporate-free campaign was essential to our victory. I am lucky to have Paul by my side as we continue to walk the talk, along with our entire community, to bring about a fresh start for Richmond. And I want to thank every single one of our many campaign volunteers, too many to name, who were involved in outreach and other campaign activities in one way or another. You all know who you are, and I am so appreciative of your hard work and commitment to better our city and community. Most importantly, I want to thank all Richmond voters for participating in this election. I want to tell all those who voted for me that your trust in me will not be in vain. I look forward to deepening my relationship with all of you, but also with all Richmonders. We are on this path together to mount our challenges and continue Richmond's transformation. It was the great African-American writer James Baldwin who said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Over the next 4 years, I am confident that we will not only face our challenges, but we will show real results. And that requires us to not engage in politics that contribute to our problems. Instead, we need to budget our values. We need to build the kind of healthy development that is beneficial to Richmond and our environment. And we need to recognize that the unhoused among us have the same rights to a humane and just future as the rest of us do. The road ahead will not be easy. Not only do we face an ongoing pandemic, but we face a major economic crisis. However, a quick look at history reveals that change does happen, but it comes from the bottom up. We need only look at the civil rights movement, the women's movement, workers' rights, and other movements of historic importance to realize that change did not originate inside government, but rather outside of it. It is through the mobilized efforts of community that we see the birth of change. It is the task of elected officials to ask ourselves how we can facilitate and contribute to true community empowerment. A government that fails to contribute to community empowerment is a government that is doomed to failure. Right now, our way of life is troubled. We see collective grief, loneliness, and some who are on the brink of giving up. But I know that people by nature are creative beings who have the potential to totally transform our cities, our state, our nation, and our world. Our priorities of health, safety, justice, and sustainability, along with our intelligence, creativity, and political will, can and will lead us to better times. I would like to end by congratulating my colleagues Melvin Willis and Claudia Jimenez on their triumphant campaigns. I would also like to thank all my colleagues currently sitting on the City Council, as well as our city staff and outgoing council members for their work and dedication to helping Richmond rise and prosper. The present is a time of struggle, but the future is ours. Thank you.
And thank you, Councilmember McLaughlin. Next up is Claudia Jimenez, Councilmember Claudia Jimenez.
Buenas noches. Good evening. Residentes y votantes del Distrito 6, gracias. District 6 voters, thank you. You have trusted me with this position. Thank you to the volunteers. You gave your precious time, your beautiful talents, and money to support this campaign, even in a year of a pandemic. This kind of grassroots campaign of regular people making extraordinary commitment is what creates the possibility of a democracy free of corporate rule. Thank you to the Richmond Progressive Alliance and the many organizations who supported us. Finally, a special thank you to my family, my husband Eli, who has supported my career every step of the way, and my two kids, Antonio and Alicia. I love you and thank you. I wish the best to former council members Jael Mayret and Ben Choi, and thank you for your commitment to Richmond. I look forward to continue working with both of you. These are hard times. As of last week, Richmond had 44 COVID deaths and over 7,000 COVID cases. Our neighbors are struggling without enough to pay their rent or mortgage or food. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people living in a car, a tent, or less. Families and children. People with jobs and many without. The official count 2 months ago was that 5,000 people are unemployed in our city. Our small businesses are having a hard time keeping their doors open. And yet, we see large corporations enjoying huge profits and receiving most of the financial support from the federal government. This must stop. The climate crisis is a heavy reality. There were so many fires across the state and the air was so bad that we had to stay locked in our homes. Homeless people, essential workers, and others had no choices but to breathe unsafe air. But this is nothing new in Richmond. The fossil fuel industry here has hit our community hard for generations. Our health demands a strong environmental regulation and a transition to a healthy and sustainable economy. This is about survival. In the November election, Richmond voters say they want progressive government and a city that puts people first and provides what's needed to those who need it the most. We stand for living wages and labor rights. Our job is to support those hardest hit by the pandemic. We want justice for our Black and brown brothers and sisters. Richmond voters say they want a more progressive business tax policy. 72 of you voted for Measure U, and you supported the statewide Proposition 15, the tax on commercial and industrial properties, with over 70% of your votes. It's clear Richmond wants corporations and large landlord businesses to pay their fair share. A majority of Richmond voters also supported California Proposition 21, the rent control initiative, which didn't pass statewide. But these results, Richmond voters sent a clear message to city officials. The people of Richmond want to protect tenants and preserve rent control. I will support a budget that represents community values and preserve services that uplift our community and provides more opportunities for our youth to thrive. I am committed to work hard with all of you to make this happen. It is possible to have an effective and responsible government that is truly accountable to all Richmond residents, especially those facing great hardship and crisis. Together, we are building a brighter and more equitable future. And thank you, Ben, Choi, and Jael for making that happen as well in our city. Together, we are building a Richmond for all. Ahora quiero hablar en español. Gracias a los voluntarios que creyeron en mi campaña y me apoyaron. Con su apoyo seguimos creando una democracia del pueblo y para el pueblo. Gracias a la Alianza Progresista de Richmond y a todas las organizaciones que creyeron en mí y me apoyaron, y a mi familia, mi esposo y a mis hijos, su apoyo fue fundamental. Son tiempos difíciles, 44 muertes y más de 7,000 casos de COVID en Richmond. Nuestra gente está sufriendo sin tener suficiente para pagar el alquiler o la hipoteca o incluso comida. Cientos de personas sin techo donde vivir, familias con niños, gente con o sin trabajo, 5,000 personas en Richmond desempleadas. Nuestros pequeños negocios luchan por mantener sus puertas abiertas. Mientras tanto, grandes corporaciones cada vez más ricas y recibiendo la mayoría de beneficios del gobierno. Esto tiene que parar. Estamos viviendo una crisis climática con incendios forestales en el estado. La calidad del aire es muy mala y tuvimos que quedarnos encerrados en nuestras casas. Pero esto no es nuevo para la gente de Richmond. La industria petrolera ha venido contaminando el aire por generaciones. Nuestra salud demanda estrictas regulaciones ambientales y una economía sostenible y sustentable que garantice la vida de nuevas generaciones. En las elecciones de noviembre, los votantes de Richmond decidieron por un gobierno progresista y una ciudad que se preocupe por la gente y provea a los más necesitados. Apoyamos un pago digno y derechos laborales. Nuestro trabajo es apoyar a los más afectados por la pandemia. Queremos justicia para nuestros hermanos y hermanas afroamericanos e inmigrantes. La gente en Richmond quiere un impuesto de negocios progresista y por eso apoyaron la medida U. Así como también apoyaron la proposición 15, impuestos en propiedades comerciales e industriales. Con estos resultados quedó claro que la gente en Richmond quiere que las corporaciones y los grandes negocios de alquiler paguen lo justo. También apoyaron la proposición 21, control de alquiler, enviando un mensaje a los líderes de la ciudad que la gente en Richmond quiere proteger los inquilinos y preservar el control del alquiler. Apoyaría un presupuesto que represente nuestros valores y que dé más oportunidad a nuestros jóvenes. Estoy comprometida a trabajar con todos ustedes para que tengamos un gobierno que sea responsable a los residentes, especialmente a los que necesitan más. Juntos estamos construyendo un futuro con más equidad y un Richmond para todos. Gracias. Thank you.
And thank you, Councilmember Jimenez. At this time, Madam City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Nathaniel Bates.
Present.
Councilmember Claudia Jimenez.
Present.
Councilmember Demlis Johnson III.
Here.
Councilmember Eduardo Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Gail McLaughlin.
Here.
Councilmember Melvin Willis.
Here and still last.
And Mayor Tom Butt.
Here.
Okay.
And now it's time to welcome the re-elected and new council members. And Vice Mayor Bates, would you like to begin?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations to the new incoming council members, two of whom I have had the pleasure of working with for years, and one newcomer who I have not met, nor have I worked with. But I look forward to the working relationship with all of the new incoming council members. And I'm happy to hear that the city of Richmond is paramount in their opinion as it relates to the business at hand. And if we can continue to work as a group and always keep the citizens of Richmond first and foremost, we're going to do, I think, a credible and outstanding job. So again, congratulations to the three candidates, and I might indicate that in a democratic process, there are winners and losers, unlike what our president may feel. But I like to also congratulate those individuals as candidates who made the democratic process here in the Richmond work. And there was no dispute in terms of who was the winners or the losers. And that's the way it should be in a democratic process. And I look forward to working with each one of the three elected officials and two returning officials. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And now Councilmember Demlis Johnson.
Welcome once, welcome twice, welcome three times, welcome, welcome, welcome. And to those who are returning, welcome back. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. Gail and Melvin, you guys know this already, but I'm just really looking forward to, getting back to work and working with every one of you. The council is a little bit more diverse now, because when I joined, it was nothing but men, and now we're blessed to have two very high performing women on the city council. One of which, as you know, I'm familiar with the work that you've done as both a city council member and as a mayor, Councilmember McLaughlin, and Councilmember Jimenez. Looking forward to working and getting to know you on a work level. It's so nice not to be the new kid on the block anymore. But I will tell you this: these people. It's great being in this room and being able to make the difference that you want to make in the community. And I just know that no matter what the topic is or what the issue is, that the city of Richmond is going to get is going to get down to the bottom of it. And I really do appreciate you guys for throwing your hat in the game and making sure that people are well represented. I was sitting here smiling as I heard Councilmember Jimenez translate her speech into Spanish. That was something that we haven't had since I've been on the council, and having spent time working at a high school like Richmond High School, I know the importance of making sure that languages are also represented in institutions such as this. And so not only am I welcoming the two council members and welcoming back Melvin Willis, but I'd also like to welcome the community members who may just now be tuning in because they have someone who speaks for them and speaks from their voice. So I'd like to welcome them to Richmond City Council as well, because this is your home, this is your city, and I thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Councilmember Martinez.
I enjoy going after Councilmember Demlis because I can always piggyback on things that he said. One of the points that he touched on that I think is very, very important is the fact that we now have two women representing the city of Richmond. We can only go from the experiences that we have, and a woman is the only person who knows what it's like to be a woman. And knowing that, they're the only ones who can actually understand viscerally what policies affect them the most. So thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Gail, for joining us. And I know that you'll have many perspectives which we have not had for the past 2 years because we did not have a woman on the council. And also, Claudia will be representing the Latino community in a way that I have not been able to because of language and her capability of going from one to the other is essential for the city council to work as much better than it has. Claudia is also an activist, and she knows her neighborhood. She's worked on the neighborhood councils, and she knows how to reach out and touch the community. So her education in city planning, her experience on the city planning commission, will also help her understand policy that needs to be made. For Gail, I'm going to keep it short. I only have 4 words for her. One of them is progressive, experienced, community-minded, and leadership. Those are 4 qualities that's going to move this council forward at a faster pace than we would have without her. So, and I can't forget Melvin. Melvin, thank you for finding this job important enough to run again, because we need you on here. I remember asking you to run for city council many times before you finally decided to do it. And when you finally decided to do it, I had given up asking you, and I'm glad that other people hadn't. So, so thank you for coming back, because I know that the issues that you're most familiar with are issues that are important to our constituents. And you also have the fire to drive those issues, uh, to create ordinances and policy that will make our city a better place. So thanks to all 3 incoming. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. And for my part, I want to recognize that it's a new day in Richmond. It's one of a number of new days we've had in the many years that I've been on the city council and been mayor. We've all had our differences in the past, both continuing council members and new council members. But one thing for sure, we're all on the same team now. And I believe that we're still gonna have differences, but we're gonna be able to get along. And one of the most pleasant memories I have of the last decade is most of us, sometimes all of us, finishing up early and going out to have drinks as a guest of Bill Lindsay. And regardless of how bitter the fights were we had or how far apart we were on the issues, we let it all go. We enjoyed each other's company. We told jokes, and we had a good time. And I think it made us stronger, and it made us a better city council. And when COVID goes away, I hope we can find a way to continue that tradition in some way. So now we are down to closing remarks from the city manager, and then after I will follow her, and then we'll adjourn. So city manager Laura Schneidman, you're on.
Great, thank you, Mayor. So as we start to bring the evening to a close, I actually want to go back to the beginning and one of the main themes from the pastor's remarks, and that is about gratitude. I am really grateful to be able to serve this council, and I particularly will always have a soft spot in my heart for those who are outgoing members who helped play a role in bringing me to help me serve here. And there's 2 things that some of you have already stolen a couple of the themes that I wanted to touch on. I'm going to also be grateful to the council for 2 key areas. One is the commitment to bettering the community. I know the folks who are going out, no matter what, it was always about bettering the community. And the same is true with the theme of camaraderie. So it sometimes felt that there were many differences of opinion, and my 7 bosses had 15 different opinions. But yet, in the end of the day, there was a really great camaraderie amongst all of you that made it a lot easier to work through those difficult issues. And I am betting that that is going to continue with this reformed council. And I am grateful again to be able to do that. Congratulations and welcome. And you all have already mentioned I admit I really wanted to say a particular welcome to the women. So it's going to be good working with everybody. And I'm really honored to be able to speak on behalf of all the staff and just reiterate how much we are ready and excited to serve this council. So thank you.
Thank you. And to close it out, I just want to say that we're going to have some fights. We're going to have some fun. And we're going to get things done, and we're going to make Richmond a better place. And I look forward to working with all of you, both returning and new council members. And before we adjourn, I have one adjournment memory. I want to adjourn in memory of Lois Boyle. Lois Boyle was a longtime Richmond resident, passed away last month after contracting COVID. Lois's dedication to Richmond spearheaded many great accomplishments for the city. She helped create the East Bay Center for Performing Arts, helped build a new YMCA, and assisted with establishing Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historical Park. One of her most prominent accomplishments was salvaging the SS Red Oak Victory, a ship that was constructed here during World War II. Ms. Boyle also served as president of the Richmond Exchange Club and the Richmond Museum Association for 30 years. Miss Lois Boyle was truly a Richmond treasure, and we send our deepest condolences to her family and all who knew her. And with that, we are adjourned. Drinks and snacks will be served in the lobby.
Good night and good luck.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Thank you, staff, for putting this together.